Hello, everyone. Blue Star Saber here with.
Happy holidays, everyone. It's Mangareader.
Yes, and we are doing My Hero Academia once again. This time, chapters 407, 408, and 409, in which we will discuss Bakugo versus All for One, as well as the secret origins revealed.
Secret.
Yeah. Well,
Don't tell no one.
well, they're no longer a secret after
They're
this
no
chapter.
longer secrets. Yeah.
Yeah. But unfortunately, Lucky Chi will not be joining us this stream because he has got family matters to attend to.
Yeah, well, to be fair, he's not on the stream that often anyway.
I'd say he's like 50-50.
That's probably true, actually.
Yeah.
What? No. I was going to say, were you doing it in between times where I wasn't active? But then I realized that, we were pretty much doing 4 chapters every, 2 months.
Yeah, so we've now cut down to 3. We almost did 5 last week, but let's see, given the last 2 chapters.
Yeah, we just
I
decided to
figured,
switch it. Yeah.
yeah, this felt more fitting to review these 3 chapters together.
It works that way. I think when we initially discussed it, I think 408 was coming out. So now that we have 409 as well,
Yeah.
it works
Because
out better.
Yeah, because it looked like not only was it showing the All for One secret origins, but also as well as Bakugo fighting him as well, as that was like 406 was implying,
Right.
especially as it was revealing that All for One, despite in a desperate situation, could not seem to ignore Bakugo because the second user, whose name was revealed, though I've forgotten what it is again, but
Good job.
yeah, but yeah, the second user revealed is actually the person that All for One hates the most, and Bakugo looks a lot like him. In many ways, it's arguably the Sasuke looks like Madara's brother kind of situation again. Though
Maybe.
this time, the bad guys actually are paying attention to it.
Not the bad guy.
But yeah. So yeah, anyway, on to the actual chapter. The first one, 407.
7.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add a banner. Let's see.
407.
Yep. Chapter 407. Just so people know what chapter we are discussing at this part.
In the spirit of Lucky Chi not being here, every chapter is the final chapter.
Well, he goes always 400.7, but yeah.
And 0.7.02.
Anyway, the chapter begins in a flashback about how, for a year, this sex worker has been suffering from growths in her left arm. And apparently, she wasn't aware that she was also pregnant at the time for at least 8 months, which, yikes.
Well, we'll cover all this after.
Yeah. And apparently, but she doesn't realize that it was her unstable lifestyle that was the reason for this. And apparently, she couldn't feel that she was pregnant. And apparently, what took inside her uterus had begun to, taking the life out of her. As we see 2 growing babies, which of course is starting to imply. Let's see, I think we know which 2 brothers we are thinking of. But yeah, but yeah,
Who
she
could we possibly be following?
Yeah, but yeah, she pretty much gives birth to these twins on a riverbank and then dies on the spot there. And it then talks about how the sort of growth thing on her arms had also completely vanished as well. And you pretty much have 2, let's see, newborn babies alone next to their dead mother. And this is where apparently rats show to, both try to eat the babies and the mother's corpse. But the babies, in a sort of, I guess, Moses kind of, mythology kind of way, get flooded away by the river. And then apparently a year later, let's see, this is apparently this. Then 1 year later, then let's see, the narration of like at the beginning of My Hero about that first glowing baby from the first chapter is apparently born and all that stuff, and also the reports of all those meta abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, it wasn't those only present at birth. They also started, let's see, with like very young people going through puberty. So that baby, even though was the first sighting, is not like just suddenly it's just this new kid born. It's like mostly people from a young generation.
Mm.
With one research group that was apparently looking into this whole thing, hypothesized that a novel disease was to blame, or I don't know, some sort of disease. Let's see, and talking about how this is a new sub branch of human genetics.
Just
But the
like
narration, of
X-Men.
course. Sorry, what?
So just like the X-Men.
Yeah, pretty much the X-Men origin. But as of course, doing that kind of declaration, of course, led to of course, let's see, divided society and also caused chaos. As we see a bunch of, let's see, ruined cities, or at least abandoned cities here, with a bunch of people seeking out meta freaks, if you will, or as they're calling meta freaks. So pretty much X-Men's origins, pretty much. But then there's a random kid that's walking towards them, and they're confused. And it's a kid in this sort of cloaked hood. Let's see, with them wondering, like, let's see, thinking that what if he might be one of those kids that's contagious with the sort of the meta abilities. One feels bad, but they think the kid's likely to be characters, but they walk away, so they ignore it. So it seems like at this point they're thinking that the meta ability is a disease. But then they all get killed by a sort of like some sort of bony-like quirk that, let's see, comes at the kid, and it's of course this kid is revealed to be, of course, all for one. I think it was pretty obvious.
Damn.
So yeah.
And not one for all. Damn.
Yeah. As the narration goes about how this child was like had contempt for people just straight out from the beginning of his birth.
Yep.
And it's revealed that the ability that he was using to kill these people was actually a meta ability he had stolen from his mother. So in a sense, this sex worker arguably was the oldest, let's see, living quirk user at the time, it seems.
Based on the timeline.
Yeah. And we see like him being a sort of bigger baby compared to his younger brother. And apparently it goes like how he views all those in reach his own possessions. As we see the young baby with like that bone-like teeth thing, sucking the life out, sucking whatever remains of his mother. That's saying that and this narration goes on about those who wouldn't turn to look at him when he cried and screamed. And let's see, and those who would not provide him anything, he would view with utter disgust. So, and we see a bit of a montage of him stealing and killing people, but his younger brother, let's see, tells him to stop and not hurt these people. As the narration shows about how all the nutrition was stolen by the older brother, leaving the small twin to be frail and all that stuff. Well, then we see All for One kicking his brother, and despite him trying to protest his words. So now we end up seeing here that narration that while the little boy, the little younger brother, provided him no anything in particular. Let's see, All for One still viewed him as one of his possessions, and one that he really didn't want to relinquish. As we get a news announcement about the social divide, it's revealed that the glowing baby has now started to take a stand and sort of caused a sort of movement and trying to get society to be more peaceful. So in a sense, I guess you could say he's like an activist like Gandhi or Martin Luther King.
Mm.
So we've got that here.
We got that.
But we see then All for One arriving to where his brother is, wondering what he's hiding from him. But he's trying to tell his brother he's learning to read, finding that the big fancy books are hard, but he finds the comics much easier to read because they have pictures in them to help him understand. Telling them that they have all the hopes and dreams of people in them in these drawings. Showing him like this superhero comic, saying how someday he wants to be like him, and we've got like arguably the most corniest hero title ever, Captain Hero, on the covers.
Captain Hero.
As we learn in the narration, that I think it's Yonichi or something. Oh no, it's let's see.
Yes, please butcher the heck out of this for us.
All for One. Let's see. All for One. You know what? I'm just gonna get his brother's name up. Yoichi Shigaraki.
His brother?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They didn't even have names.
Yeah. Well, his name was revealed a while back, but yeah.
I know, but All for One didn't have a name because he didn't have
Yeah.
parents. Yeah, so
Yeah.
All for One's name is All for One.
Yeah. It's like didn't have a proper name, so I'm just doing this villain's name.
Yeah.
But pretty much the younger brother hasn't given up on trying to redeem his big brother.
Right.
Because it's mostly due to a memory he recalls when apparently he was born that a hand he wants to believe was his brother's grip that had been kind and gentle. As apparently we see like in the flashback earlier that he was holding on to his brother's hand. Not sure if it was but let's say arguably this was probably more of a possession for the elder brother. But then we cut to 3 years later. As All for One is then talking to his Yoichi, his younger brother Yoichi, about how the famous glowing baby has reached 10 million supporters. Let's see, wondering like why just him and all that stuff, because they were officially regarded as the first, let's see, meta kid in the books. As he talks about 2 weeks, as he goes on about 2 weeks ago in India alone, 50 babies were born with meta abilities. But Yoichi, or the first One for All user, pretty much realizes that his brother is glowing. As he wonders how so many people managed to rally about them, he finds it bizarre. But so he ended up killing the leader and stole the quirks that was there. So it's revealed that he's pretty much killed the firstborn, the first, official quirk user. With the brother can't understand, as he talks about the comic book they read, saying one for all and all for one. He thinks that these are words to live by. As apparently the hero had hid his identity and battled on solitude, while everyone paid tribute to the wicked demon lord out of fear. He admired that lord so much. As he talks about how he was inspired by the hero, he's inspired by the villain and he wants to make a world for his sake alone. And he's found his dream, as we just see him smiling in a twisted sense.
Yeah.
And then we see and then the chapter ends with the last page where we see the younger brother trying to leave, with All for One questioning why he's trying to leave after granting him power. And he's wondering who's this is taking him with him, which is, of course, the second user. Saying that his brother is his, saying that if he refuses to be his, he's going to have enough of this. And we see arguably this was when arguably All for One kills his younger brother, as we see bits of his body cut off with only like the hand left, sort of ending the first chapter.
Oh boy.
So yeah, and that's the first chapter. So what are you make of it, Mangareader?
Well, I know we hinted, or I know I said something, but maybe it was off like actual live commentary or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That it felt like we were reading a different manga there.
Arguably, yeah. Probably one that's a bit more darker in a sense.
Can you believe this? The whole premises of this seems so bubbly and cheerful at the damn start of the day. Even from the anime's version of the opening.
Oh yes, it's
Remember
like
when this was all about fun and being a hero?
yeah, but
What
it's
the hell happened?
yeah. Turns out it's a lot more like the X-Men.
Something like that. Well, everyone always made jokes about how it always felt like the X-Men for different reasons.
Yeah,
Like if the Hero Registration Act had actually gone through, this is what the X-Men universe would essentially be like.
yeah. So
But,
arguably, so go on.
but I mean, we've seen at least they tried to do that in Civil War and Marvel, but regardless. So yeah, the definitely an odd choice of an origin story.
Yeah, I would admit, I was under the impression that they at least. Well, I get they were. I wouldn't be. I'm not surprised that they were like porn on the streets, but I think at the very least they'd have their parents for a while. But instead, no, it's like let's see, their mother was a sex worker
Yep.
and didn't realize that she was pregnant,
Yep.
and she died as they were born.
Well, that's because, as they explain, All for One was stealing
Which,
everything. Yeah.
but given his character, I can believe that, to be honest.
Yep. Stealing the substance, stealing the life force, stealing everything.
Yeah. And look, granted, it's apparently also his mother actually had a quirk, so it makes me wonder if, again, the fact that the narration pretty much hinted that it was only young people that were recently getting this ability, makes me wonder how young this sex worker is, which leads to some very dark questions, I think.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dark questions. Well, Koei finally got to that teen rating that Shonen Jump allows.
Well, definitely, I'd say that.
Young teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
15 to 16-year-olds. I think 14 is technically the low end of that. So, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that she's at least a young adult, but yeah. But,
yeah, I know.
yeah, though granted, I do think the age thing in Japan has changed a little bit, but I need to recall that. But
It don't matter.
let's see. But yeah, I need to double check that.
It just doesn't matter.
But yeah. Granted, I will admit, I do kind of find it a little bit of a stretch that these newborn babies survive by having water flowing them away before the rats could eat them.
Oh, goody. That's for the rats to enjoy.
Let's see. Granted, it definitely reminds me of like that. Let's see the tale of, I believe, Moses from like the Old Testament.
The rats can't eat mother. I have to eat mother.
Yeah. Granted, at the very least, you'd think arguably, I kind of feel like this origin would make a bit more sense if like just some random couple just finds the two babies and then starts to raise them with it before they eventually get killed by All for One.
Right.
I honestly feel like that might be a bit better.
Regardless, though, it's not what happened.
Yeah.
Instead we have super possessive, really overly selfish, all for one,
Yeah.
all within character.
Yeah. Let's see. He's evil. Even as a baby, he wants everything for himself.
It's ultimately what the quirk was named after.
Yep. But yeah. But it is also, of course, interesting to learn a bit more about the growing meta society at this time as well.
I guess the only
And
thing that this kills is the primordial type quirk. It clearly wasn't something that was like destined to always be around from the sounds of it.
yeah. Though it's interesting to learn that the reason why society ended up overreacting was because of some analysis of like scientists thinking that it's some sort of genetic disease or something.
It wouldn't be surprising. Of course, that's going to be the first thing that come to mind.
Yeah. Well, but it's interesting to learn that their poor choice of wording on this is what caused people to perhaps react. Well, granted, I think the moment superpowers start popping up, you're going to get all kinds of people reacting.
It's always amazing how in these stories where there's people with uh, supernatural abilities, they're always considered lesser humans for some reason. Like our minds can't apparently comprehend having so much power or whatever, so we immediately flock to categorize them as subhuman and try to exterminate them.
Well, think it's just general fear that if these guys would start using their powers, they can pretty much rule the world.
Right.
So I think that's one way to do it. But yeah, but it is interesting to see how you had groups trying to hunt them down and all that stuff. But this gave All for One the good advantage of trying to gain followers, I guess, as and how All for One took control of quite a lot of people as a result of this. But yeah, but it's
How
interesting
he could
to
have followers is beyond me.
yeah. Well, clearly he learned to be charismatic, but yeah,
Right.
but it's interesting to learn that he viewed anything that couldn't give him what he needed or things to provide him. He viewed them with utter contempt. So it seems like he came to despise his own mother. Well, but it's also interesting to learn that All for One's younger brother was actually his twin brother. Because I think before then, I'm not sure if people theorized this, but I always assumed that he was just the elder brother and the other one was just the younger brother by a few age differences. But I guess
Even in Twindom, there's technically an older and younger. It's just whoever came out first.
that is true. But yeah. I don't remember what I've watched Zack and Cody, so I know that.
Right. Well, they always called them older and younger in the manga anyway.
Yeah.
It's not a translation error or anything, as far
Yeah.
as you can tell.
Yeah, they just never made it clear that they were twins before. No.
Yeah, I guess Koei just wanted to make sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, guess what? They're twins. Now shut up.
But it's interesting to learn that the younger brother did actually try to believe in good of his elder brother, but mostly because he thought of some act of his brother looking out for him, but in fact that All for One just viewed him as like a possession for his to keep.
Yeah. Well,
Which is
I'm pretty sure that this is still a maintained prevalent or severely or whatever. So it seems like maybe I'm completely off base here, but I think the first user has always been the one that sympathized most with Deku in terms of keeping out hope for stupid things or whatnot.
oh yeah, trying to save people, even the bad guys.
Yeah.
Arguably, yes. Though I do think that he's clearly at this point found his brother to be beyond saving. And I
Right.
assume that was probably when he killed the first, the light user who apparently was so popular, gained 10 million followers. In a sense, becoming sort of like Gandhi or Martin Luther King kind of like figure for
I thought
message.
they were a hero, but yeah, that makes more sense.
They were what now?
I thought became like the first hero, but I guess that makes sense if he was more of a figure.
Yeah, I don't think like superheroes were just quite invented at this point in time, but yeah.
They
But yeah,
weren't a
definitely.
thing.
So go on.
They weren't a thing.
Hmm. That is true. But yeah, but I will admit, I'm not. Let's see. I do find it interesting that the reason that they started to learn to read and write was because of this comic book he read. Though, granted, I really do not like the name Captain Hero. It's just too corny. It's just too cheesy. I mean, maybe that was the intent, but I just feel like it's too on the nose.
Right. It was always the intent.
But yeah. But I do like, but it is interesting to learn a bit of lore that All for One did, of course, kill the light user. And as a result of that comic, let's see, he found the use of the words all for one and one for all.
Right.
But yeah. No, granted, I think the most interesting thing is the fact that when we learn that, let's see how he responded to how his brother escaping, like, why are you leaving me? It's like, if I can't have you, no one can. But it seems like he was too. But it's interesting because we know he blames the second user, but it seems like he was perhaps too filled of rage to realize what he was doing. At least that's what I'm assuming.
Right.
I know I don't know. What do you think?
I think a lot of it just has to do with it, like you said, you're mine and mine alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was the only thing he had in life other than himself. So he figured he needed at least one possession.
Yeah, yeah, but it's kind of interesting because it's like we know that All for One was fond or did love his brother in some ways, but it's clearly we see here it's a twisted possession, and even though he didn't find it, let's see, any actual use, it's still like his possession in a sense. So it's like,
Right.
yeah, so it's like he just can't get. He just can't. He just refuses to give up anything that he considers belonging to him.
Yep.
So it kind of makes sense why he would come to hate the second user so much.
So I guess what this can truly confirms that the second user wasn't a subordinate or was.
Now, the second user was always leader of this freedom fighter group that was against
Yeah.
All for One's rule.
Yeah, because we what did we originally assume that he was like uh all for one second in command or some nonsense?
No, I think you're thinking of some, let's see, random bodyguard he had in the flashback.
Well,
When,
one of us thought that. Maybe it was Chi, because we thought that the reason the second user was so hated was because he abandoned him or some crap like that. We thought.
that might have been Lucky Chi theorizing it. I don't know. We'll have to ask him next time he's on the stream.
We got to go through all your videos now. We have to do this.
I'm sure you can find time to listen to them while walking on the street or something.
Being on the street. Yeah, walking
Or,
outside. Clearly what
or,
I do.
or I'm just doing housework.
Yeah.
But yeah. So overall, I think I'll give this chapter an 8 out of 10. I would give it a 9, but I do feel like the baby stuff at the beginning is a bit of a stretch.
Stretch.
Yeah. But I do,
I'll go 8.5. I still think it's rather intricate for a storytelling situation.
yeah.
I really do find it quite amusing that it feels still completely different than really everything up to this point for what we've been accustomed to doing and or seeing, yada yada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Arguably, I think this is a flashback he has planned for a very long time.
It was all in the works.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was chapter 407, which is which was entitled "Exceptional Child," and now we can go on to for
.ac.uk. An exception.
Sorry, that was my Alexa on the TV. Let's see. Sorry. I'm just turning it off now. So there we go. Anyway, we can now go on to chapter 408.
408.
Yep. Let's see. The eyes that tell all. Let's see, and we see that. Let's see. It seems we're following up from like the last chapter in which he killed his brother, from the looks of things, or at least I assume it is his brother, as it looks like his hair and arm being disintegrated from the last chapter. And we get a narration about apparently his name was Yochi, because with the kanji characters for bestow, and one because his brother was the very first thing given to him in life. So it's like its first possession, like we were just talking about.
Yep.
Now, granted, as the narration goes, like it's at this point been 2 months since his brother had walked away from him, as we see a bunch of people running away from All for One. As he's looking at as the narration talks about how he's looking at the man who he regards as stealing his brother away from him, his precious possession. And he thinks as he's looking at as the second user and him are looking at each other, it talks about how from birth there'd been no shine in his eyes, as they were clouded by the membranes, which is, of course, which he is referring to All for One's eyes. We see no pupils. And the sight of but it says the sight of like the young man was reflected in those eyes. So in a sense, so you kind of see like All for One reflected in the second user's eyes. But anyway, we then change to a building, and then let's see. This is clearly All for One's building, as he's seemingly holding the hand, I believe, his now deceased brother, arguably the first type of hand that Lucky Cheese Boy Tomura Shigaraki would probably wear himself, or at least we see the origins of where he would get that idea from.
Right.
With All for One just thinking about how the meta ability thought he granted his brother was gone. As the narration goes about how he had fostered the power in Yoichi, and his refusal to accept it had been stolen from others. It's talking about how it was in order to force others into servitudes. He realized that he'd never really observed what he was doing with his brother. Let's see, realizing that there is no meta ability left in his brother.
Right.
Thinking that he might have stolen his brother's power when he was young, but he realizes that his brother did have one, but one that he could not recognize, and probably his power thought was useless.
Right.
And realized that it did activate itself somehow after a bit of nourishment and all that. And then we then cut to like the second and third user, with the third user calling him like the second user boss.
Right.
Saying that, asking him if he got touched by All for One. But we then also learn the third user's name, and it's Bruce.
Bruce.
Yeah, the third
he seems
user.
like a Bruce.
Yeah. My guess, it's a reference to Bruce Wayne.
Maybe.
That's the only reason I think that could be why he's called
Black Rip. Maybe. I always thought though, because hate to bring up vigilantes, but vigilantes has something closer to Batman than Bruce.
Yeah. But yeah, it just feels like after much speculation what his name is, it's Bruce.
Much speculation.
I don't know. I think many people expected him to have a name that would let's see Ichnin-san, so something with the Japanese can't you for free.
Right.
Well, granted, it might be his surname, but who knows? But anyway, he tells Bruce to give it a rest and spit out about the results. He talks about how he felt like his body was feeling off since that encounter. And he's surprised to notice, but he tells him that he's got 2 factors, in other words, 2 quirks, and some unknown, unformed dud with I think the second user realizing that might have been the case.
The second user.
Yeah. Let's see. So hold on, I'm just gonna try and search for the second user's name. Second user, my academia. His name is Kuda, I believe.
Kuda.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Kuda, which you'd think it'd be something with knee in it. But yeah. All for One thinks about the meta ability granted his brother, absorbed by his own. Let's see what he thought was stole from his brother. As then we cut to like the younger brother, as it seems to be a sort of inside narration within it, like a sort of inside. It seems like it's cutting to 2 different scenes. So I'm not sure if this is like inside the second user, but he goes like, "I couldn't stop my brother," and talks about how you kept me alive, saying how he only sees other human beings as playthings, as prizes to win, saying if only you could have found even a bit of compassion for others. So clearly, one is talking to like the second user, and the other one is talking to his brother. With realizing that Yochi's will, like the second user feels like Yochi's will is living inside him, while All for One realizes that his brother still lives on within that quirk. Let's see, as Yochi goes, like the ability to both give and take could have been the kindest and most charitable power in the world's ever known. Talking about his own brother's quirk. At this point, All for One realizes that his brother's still alive, and this quirk seeks it out. As we see a double panel spread of All for One as an adult form, arguably searching, but we then see like bits and shards of pieces of what he dealt with like the other quirk users of All for One. Particularly like when he finally took the second user's life. And apparently, we get a bit of a narration that some crocodile tears that he had against the second user caused confusion and dismay. Thinking about how he only wanted to make his brother mine, from what we can tell. But we see pretty much a montage of All for One. Let's see, hunting down like the other users. We see like him killing the second user, then the third user getting the quirk, then the third user being killed, and then All for One gaining followers, then of course All for One meeting that scientist guy that gave him the age quirk. Then we see him fighting the 5th user of, or let's say One for All, because he never encountered the first. Now, from what I can tell, he seems to have maybe ripped, or at least is attempting to try and steal the quirk from him, but it didn't work. And then we see him slicing the 6th user in half, which is, blimey, that death was more brutal than I realized.
Damn. Yeah, I know. I was like, what? Damn.
Yeah. With only him just able to take a bit of hair. to give to like Nanashima, let's see, the seventh user and All Might's mentor. Was he thinking about how he only wanted to make his brother his, but yet he never behaved as he wished, so he went and hunt pursued. And then we cut to like All Might, the eighth user, seemingly during like the first battle that they ever had, where we see All Might doing a significant punch and then punches All for One's face, seemingly blowing his head off in a sense, or at least blowing his face off.
Yeah, I mean that would explain. We all knew that was the healing process.
Yeah, we knew that he was severely injured, but I don't think we expected it to.
How he survived having basically the top of his head blown off, we'll never know. Because we know the jaw's still there.
Yeah. As he thinks about how his brother always slipped through his grasp, and then we get that panel of like All Might in the puddle of blood, while All for One's there on the floor.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, granted, I have no idea how I was able to like injure All Might in this bit of the fight, though. I'm assuming with the scene we see of him punching him earlier, it does look like All Might's got a wound in his chest earlier. So it seems like that wound was taken. That severe wound All Might had was taken before the final blow.
Yeah. Well, that's where we had learned about.
But then we of course see what appears to be a body bag for All for One, and then of course the scientist.
Yeah.
Who seemingly retrieved his body in an attempt to help revive his master, or like his partner, depending on how you want to refer to it. And then we cut back to like the main timeline with All for One mutating with all his quirks, shouting, "You're to blame for it all, Kudo!"
It's all Kudo's fault, all because he stole his brother.
Yeah, and we learned that All for One ended Kudo's bloodline, leaving no chance of it ever happening, eliminating any woman or child he was ever close to. But he's wondering
that's a certain amount of petty that I aspire to be one day, man.
Blimey. Well, I hope to never make it to your enemies list.
I know. That's certain amount of pettiness that brings out the best in villains.
Yeah. But he's wondering that if perhaps possible Bakugo may have been, would see a relative that survived, and or at least has his blood running through his veins. Or at least, he's wondering if Bakugo is possibly ascendant, but he's like, he surely would have sensed it that first time when he encountered back in the Hoshigaku incident, was it? It's been a long time since I've read that arc. I've forgotten its name.
Right.
Where All Might and All for One had supposedly their last fight, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember specifically where they had their last fight, but
yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the last fight, or the fight before?
The last fight in the first saga.
Saga before, basically the fight before we even knew about the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever really outright said that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. But he thinks about how it's all in the eyes back then. His eyes didn't have that look to them. Thinking that's just an accidental resemblance, but he seems to compare Bakugo's resolve to Kudo's, so apparently thinking it's crossed space and time in an attempt to thwart him. So it's like, in some ways, it's like as if Bakugo is the reincarnation of the second user.
He's been brought back through space and time, even though the second user's still in the quirk.
In the quirk, in Midoriya's quirk, but yeah, one for all. So he can't. So he thinks like even just trying to forcibly wrap him away won't really tear the thorn in his side, because let's see, because he realizes that All Might and Tomura are still nearby to start with. You can't really afford to drag out this battle, as it would shrink him further.
Right.
So it's like he needs to And he realizes that when he reaches Tomura, there will be conflict because he's already starting to reject him. Thinking he needs to save all his remaining strength to succeed in the transfer. But he thinks, like, even though he had the strategy plan, but he realizes this is not enough, thinking that he needs to kill Bakugo while also reaching his goal in the transfer, so thinking that all these goals are one and the same, so let's see. And we see that, the his brother Yoshi senses his brother realizing that he's coming. So All For One is using everything he has, using a move called Omi Factor Unleash, as we see his giant body with all sort of mutilated body parts of all the different quirks that he has stolen over the years.
And I know you've never seen it, and I'm going to always bring it up regardless. Man, Koei had probably too much admiration for Akira.
Well, let's see. Let's see. I'll take your word for it, but it seems like he's probably done that as influence. But yeah, as this move is called All For One Goal. As we see the devastating power this of like mutilated body form does, as it blows buildings away with black lightning and all other kinds of things, saying he will pass. As but I think we see Bakugo talking about how a massive energy surge to fuel his pro potion, asking if he claims to his Bakugo, wondering if he's trying to win with a single attack. All For One realizes they revert back to a baby, and realizing he's betting everything on this. All Might tries to warn Bakugo to dodge it, but Bakugo, using his exploding quirks to fly, and then we see a bunch of sweat glands around him, saying about how some genius he supposedly is, thinking how could he ever hope to beat that, as we end the chapter on this cliff note as Bakugo is prepared to face All For One's ultimate attack, ending the chapter.
Dang, that took long.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to read some of the bits of dialogue to understand what was being said. Sorry.
Whoosh. Yeah, we had a double-page spread there for that ultimate attack.
Well, all the best attacks should deserve a double-page spread.
Should deserve the double-page spread. Yeah. Well,
sorry, go on.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, well, you're probably right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's why you don't... Let's see. Granted, you never find a double-page spread in Boruto.
No. But how would you know?
Let's see, because I've read a couple of the chapters, and I've also listened to the YouTuber Drago Knight, who talks about how Ikimoto never draws double-page spreads. And when I started looking more, it's like, he's right.
Oh. Well, damn.
Yeah. But anyway. We're not on... let's see. Anyway, on to the chapter. What did you make of it?
Well, it's like I was commenting in way before. That is some massive amount of petty salt that All For One is smoking there, man.
Yeah, it's like, you took what's mine! I can't accept it!
Yep. Yeah. He's got to lay off the, the possessiveness.
Yeah.
Too bad, because he killed his brother.
Yeah, he's just so full of hubris. He just cannot admit that he drove his own brother away, and he is the cause of his death, regardless of the second user. He may have taken him away from him. Yet still the ultimate cause of turning him against him.
Nothing would have happened if he didn't kill. Yeah, nothing would have happened if you just stayed with me.
It's like, no, nothing would have happened if you just ended up being a good person like his brother suggested. Because He says, even with a quirk that can take and give abilities, could become the kindest thing. But he's had to twist because he had to twist them in his own evil way.
Right. Steal away the abilities from the bad people and give the good people the abilities that they deserve.
Yeah. Which, let's see, on one hand, arguably, we saw in previous chapters that All for One did sort of do that, but he did that to make people serve him, not to, like,
Well,
the good nature.
he also wouldn't give them, like, the ability that best suit them or anything like that either.
Yeah. There were many, like, that didn't really suit them, and they ended up turning to, like, normal, like, corpses.
Right.
So, yeah. But it is interesting to learn that as soon as his brother was rescued, he was only like 2 months that his brother was able to escape. So, which I do think makes sense that it would be that his brother would be away from him for a while before All for One tries to hunt him down and then ends up killing him in rage.
2 months. 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like how it's interesting to learn that All for One never had like a pupils in his eyes, but his hatred was completely reflected on like the second user.
There's only like 5 actual quirks in this ability when you think about it, because 3 of the users actually don't have the standard quirks for quirkness. So Deku really only has like 6 powers. When you think long and hard about that.
Let's see, All for One. Let's see, the second user's quirk. I keep forgetting what it's called.
Right.
That meta ability that lets him control flying objects, I believe.
What, the second user? He's the one that can. He's the one that time shifts, basically.
Yeah. Time shifts.
Well, it's gear shift is what it's called.
Gear shift.
So it changed basically the ability to like go beyond your limit, basically.
Mm-hmm. Then there's like
a third user who
Janjitsu kind of in that one that lets him do
something about movement where you can store it up to like 3 levels and then you can release it all at once.
Yeah. Then you've got the 4th user's Danger Sense.
Yep.
The 5th user's Black Whip.
Yep.
Then there's like the 6th user's Smoke, and then there's the 7 users Float, which is 6 quirks and one and like the original One for All.
Yeah, which the original One for All. I don't even know if it came with anything because apparently I don't think Super Strength was anything really until.
It's from what I can tell, it was a mixture of like Yochi's ability to transfer quirk and the stockpiling power that All for One.
Well, yeah, that's what ultimately happened. I know that's how it came to be, but basically the quirk evolved as it kept being transferred.
Yeah.
But the original quirk itself was just the ability to. Was just the ability to culminate quirks, and then it just fused with the brothers.
Yeah.
Which was the ability to give quirks away or something like that.
Yeah, I do like how the elder brother starts to think about how, realize that his brother's powers were gone, and it's interesting to learn that he kept the hand of his first brother, which is based on the sort of like seemingly this is where he gets the idea to give Shigaraki all the hands of his dead relatives.
Right.
So, it's like with this like hand that he's looking at, he realizes that his brother's quirk powers are gone.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
I don't care.
I'm not sure.
A stupid TV.
Shut up.
Yeah. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah.
The hands.
Yeah, he realizes that from that hand, he realizes his brother's quirk is gone, and it's like initial analysis. Okay, I must have stolen my brother's powers from birth, but nope. Seems like it was just too weak that I didn't realize.
Yep.
So yeah, but I do like how like the second user realized that the second user didn't realize that he had already how the second and third user discovered that he had taken the first user's powers at some point when they're touching and when they did sort of analysts from each other. Now, granted, I'm still kind of finding disappointed in the name Bruce. I don't know. I just figured it'd just be all the sort of names that they've been going every one of them sounds like of the one for all users as a part of the Japanese.
Well, apparently Bruce must not be from Japan or anything.
Yeah, I guess so. Unless they have a Japanese surname, but who knows?
Bruce.
But yeah, but I do like how you've got two different conversations of the younger brother talking to you for the second user or all for one. About one described about how his brother's a monster, and the other wondering only if you could be good and all that stuff, and they realize that the will lives on, and that let's see, one that had the will to fight the brother, while the other one's still just clinging to his brother. So I like that, but I did also seeing the montage of how each of the quirk users that All for One encountered gained the quirk, only for how he killed them off.
Mm-hmm.
So we end up seeing how he killed the third user, in which he ended up just stabbing him through the chest with a bunch of his comrades that are around him. Seeing him how he met how he met his scientist friend.
Yeah.
And how he tried to steal quirks from the fifth user. I'm wondering if we're seeing him I wonder if we're seeing him killing the fifth user here. Seeming like he's ripping something out of his neck, maybe?
I don't know.
It looks like it, maybe? But yeah, the sixth user's death was brutal, just cutting him in half.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I do like how we actually get to see the finishing move of All Might's fight against All for One. It's clear that we're never going to see the full fight of that one, because it's this sort of historic fight that would just be shrouded in mystery, but we at least see the finishing move of it at the very least.
Go ahead and do it. Do it. Yeah.
I mean, granted, if we ever do see that first All Might versus All for One fight, that'll probably be in a prequel manga series or something.
Yeah, I'm sure if he's needing some money, he'll do something.
Yeah, but it does. But from what we can guess, it seems like the serious wound he got was before the final blow, which I always assumed it came after, but I guess I was wrong.
Yes, you were.
But yeah. Well, I suppose it makes sense, as it seems that All Might thought he was dead.
Yeah.
We also got confirmation that the scientist did steal his corpse just to try and save him.
We got confirmation.
But yeah. But anyway, I do like how it's All for One who's this master manipulator and all that stuff. Let's see. There's one flaw. His one flaw is this sort of possession he had of his younger brother, and the hatred of the guy who took him away from him.
Yeah. There's always going to have to be some form of soft spot in everyone.
Yeah.
Weakness, soft spot, yada yada.
Yeah. Because before this, it looked like All for One was invincible and had always this backup plan ahead, but it seems like there's at least something that can get him to flip.
Most of the time it's just ego for villains.
Yeah.
This time it's blind hatred for someone specifically.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to learn that his hatred is that so much that he wiped out the entire bloodline of the second user.
I don't know if they'll ever get into it, but I was starting to really think about it. I wonder if quirks are just manifestations of people's personalities.
I think so, maybe? I mean, that's probably a theory.
Like I said, I don't know if it'll ever be covered, but I mean, if you think about it, Bakugo's personality is pretty explosive.
Yeah.
Shoto's just kind of, he's soft talking, but
yeah. Now, we
pretty.
do know that there is a sort of bloodline factor to some of them, like with Shoto's family.
Well, I know it is a bloodline, but when you think about like Endeavor, he's also pretty got a fiery type personality, and his mom seems to have a pretty chilled, laid back personality.
Yeah, you might be right there.
I mean, it just occurred to me just based on how All for One's quirk seems to really exemplify his personality.
Yeah. Now, it does make me wonder how Grapefruit, Mineta's quirk, reflects his perverted personality.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it. The fruit of the loins, man.
All right.
Just thinking. Fruit of the loins, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, well, perhaps it's best not to think of Mineta's quirk that way.
Yeah, well, unlike some of you people, I don't necessarily. I respect the artist's opinion of liking a specific character. Y'all can hate Mineta all you want.
Let's see. Mineta arguably came out at the wrong time compared to the rest of the perverted characters.
Well, I'd probably go down to 408, or 409. So if you want to give your opinions of the chapter.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna finish up. Let's see, like the bits of hatred, but yeah, but I do like how he's just trying to. Oh, you're back.
Give your review.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes.
Sorry, you just gone for a second, and then you return.
Gone for a second.
Yeah, you seem to have lost connection with you for a sec. I don't even see your avatar's even disappeared.
What? Anyway.
But yeah. But I do like how let's see, despite all for One's rationale with Bakugo, he just seems to think it's like he's just come back to it's like it's somehow just returned to try and just kind of mock him or something. And as a result, even though he's rationally trying to think, I did like how he's rationally thinking that Shigaraki is going to defy him, but he wants to take out Bakugo at the same time, so he's going to try and just risk everything to take out him once. And I will give props to Koei with his witty art style here, with like that grotesque of final attack. So yeah, but I do also like how Bakugo is just charging head on because, well, that's his character. So yeah, so arguably I would give this chapter like a 9 out of 10.
It's a fair assessment.
Well, I'd like how we see All for One and let's see the second user realizing that let's see this first user's quirk has transferred. We're seeing All for One hunt them down. We're seeing like hunting down the other users.
Yeah.
All Might took out All for One.
Yep.
And also All for One just trying to figure out what the connection is between Bakugo and all that stuff, and just and Kudo. Let's see. Which I will admit, the name makes me think of Kubo, but it's like a D instead of a B.
That would have been an interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I'll also give it a 9. I mean, you've pretty much covered everything, and I've kind of more or less gave my own thoughts before even giving out this actual rating thing. But I'm just curious to see. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But it's just kind of interesting to think that maybe quirks are just manifestations of people's like prominent personalities.
Yeah,
I know
honestly,
there's genetic things, yada yada, but it just seems really. Maybe it's just coincidental.
mm-hmm. But yeah,
I mean, you think about like Uraraka's gravity thing. She's pretty bubbly as a character too. So
that's true.
And then when you think of Toga, she's pretty much always trying to basically stand out to be someone else that she's not because of her ability.
Yep.
At least on the surface, that's what it seems like anyway. So Yeah, like I said, maybe it's just something that you're supposed to pick up on a reading comprehension. Maybe they give it confirmation. Maybe it's just all coincidental. But
let's see. Now, granted, we don't unfortunately have a Vegapunk-like scientist to express
explain all these situations. Yeah.
I mean, we've got an evil scientist, but he's like doing more of a doomsday theory.
Right. I mean, I'll be the first to say that not everyone's quirk has, like, I don't know what. Well, Creates actually kind of can still make some sense to it, but I mean, Frope is just a frog.
Well, I guess Sears does look as emotionless as a frog sometimes.
I guess that's true.
And that's my
Then
best.
you have Toru, who I don't know. She's practically the opposite of wanting to be invisible, but you know, beggars can't be choosers.
Anyway, now to the last chapter.
409.
Let's see. Fair enough. Anyway, now on to the last chapter.
I said 409.
Yeah, 409. Quirk Explosion. In which it begins with a young Bakugo being born, as we see his parents smiling and crying. And Bakugo also crying, which I think I've seen people comment that Bakugo looks like an ugly baby here.
Ugly baby.
No, I'll give him a break. This was just him born on the first day.
Just him. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we cutting to like let's see, Bakugo throughout his time with Midoriya, thinking about how he's going to make it all his skills his own and rise. Thinking about how his explosions can pull off anything he wants to. As he then cuts back to like a young Asuku from like middle school, saying he won't stand in his way anymore. With then, of course, All Might trying to dodge it, as we see All for One's let's say quirk body kind of thing, sort of firing like a torpedo, if you will. I think Bakugo thinking blow the hell up, as we see All for One charging at him. But then we see All for One exploding. I think we see his head exploding. With him being confused because Bakugo didn't take any clear action at this point. With Bakugo explaining that the rain from earlier is putting damp on his oomph, so he fired off some coated beads, apparently. And these beads are explosive sweat that's apparently coated with regular sweat, meaning that he shot them off without triggering them, hoping that something else might set them off on delay. As he realizes that this was earlier when Bakugo blew straight at his mouth. Let's see. As Bakugo saying, if nothing else, I've always earned kudos for his intuition. Thinking that the one quirk he's got is enough. As he thinks back to like what All Might was talking to him earlier about, the more damage he takes, the younger he regresses, getting the picture of that. Thinking that all the damage is like from his power. All for One realizes that all the damage has pretty affected his powers into disarray, but he only needs one more. As All for One is shouting, this is his tale, telling Bakugo to move aside, as he's just an extra nobody. And I think, we see Bakugo attacking with a move called Howitzer Impact, causing more explosions to like All for One. We see his face still smoking. And then we get like a cool double panel spread of Bakugo firing off more explosions, telling All for One to get wrecked. And then, of course,
Howitzer Impact. Always a pretty cool attack.
Yeah. Telling him to shut up in the next few pages, shut the hell up in the next few pages. blowing him up some more. And All for One realizes that something is off with his quirks and about they're not mingling properly. As he's wondering how all these fireworks are tearing them apart. These mere fireworks are tearing them apart. And he's starting to wonder if perhaps his own body has grown too young. As someone is telling him that all those nasty negative emotions have got you in a tailspin, so you're losing control over them. With Buck, as then we see it's actually what remains of Hawks' quirk that he's stolen inside it, as he says, check it out. This joint is my fan meetup venue now. As we see all the different people that All for One has stolen quirks from. I'm not see. I must admit, and saying up as he talks about how he's going to be swallowed up by Shigaraki. As we see Bakugo, putting his hand on what seems to remain of All for One's face, telling him to get this straight, saying that this is actually our tail, not his, causing another massive explosion. As there's, you think All Might thinking about little by little, every damage dealt to All for One has built up to this at long last. As we see Bakugo's parents crying, or at least looking on in amazement. The first user looking on at his brother. Realizing that probably this is his end. As they're thinking, as the sort of narration continues, for certain this time, All for One is, as you got Bakugo panting, saying like, yeah, I can never hope to beat that at least, not alone. At least thinking like everyone has helped to, thinking that everyone that's come before him in fighting All for One has helped him to take him out. Ending the chapter, and seemingly All for One is finally defeated. So, Mangareader, what do you make of the chapter?
I don't know. Did this one feel a little shorter to you?
Yes, I think it's mostly due to the action, but the action pages. But yeah,
right.
It's got one,
double
two,
spread again.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 15 pages.
It's a little. I mean, it's still longer than most of the shorter ones we've gotten.
Yeah. It seems to be a bit in between the more standard long chapters in the manga, but it's shorter than the more longer ones we have, but it's not as short as the short ones we've been getting. It's sort of in between.
Yep. In between, eh?
Yeah. But so yeah, what do you make of this chapter besides it being a bit shorter than...
I was just curious.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I like action every now and then. The pacing of this fight. I mean, the fight really hasn't been dragging itself, but just All for One has just been dragging.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, this fight is arguably relatively quick. It's mostly just like a few explosions, like in like a couple of chapters before this.
Just the fight against Bakugo in general has been pretty shorter compared to
like what we've gone for the last couple of fights.
Yeah, the All Might. Well, the All Might versus One for All again.
Yeah.
For the third time. Yeah.
If I had to guess, it's probably due to the fact that Bakugo has already had like a major fight with a bunch of other heroes against the Shigaraki All for One. So it's like, so I think Koi's thinking like, I don't need to do this. I just need to give Bakugo these final last ultimate move attacks.
Yeah, well, it's just how was their impact with the ability to cause more explosions.
Yeah. So yeah. So what do you make of like the explanation of like how Bakugo was able to increase his like power despite all the rain and all that stuff?
Isn't it just that he's now got like more sweat?
I think so.
remember that being supposedly why he was able to expand beyond.
Yeah.
But I guess it's kind of cool or interesting to say that he can now control kind of the glycerin when he basically described it as a ticking time bomb. So
yeah. So yeah, I do like that. That does feel like a natural step, I suppose, to an explosion ability, really.
being able to lay off essentially landmines or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like with like how Dedra had like with his art sculptures. He could see. He waits for the perfect time to set them off.
Yeah, but that was chakra-based clay that was exploding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about too many explosive people that have like the ability to set off their explosions from long range. So that's pretty unique, assuming that that's what I read was correct and not just me thinking, oh, that he can just do that on his own.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I would probably say Dedra is still my favorite, let's see, explosive-based style fighter in Japanese anime and manga.
Of course, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it is just him getting his sweat on other people and then having them essentially try to ignite an attack and it exploding. So that could be what it is. Maybe Bakugo's not actually controlling the explosion, rather he's just leaving traces that can potentially cause its own explosion if heated up properly or something.
Mm-hmm.
That might be more accurate now that I'm thinking about that.
You're probably right. I will admit, like I said earlier, the Bakugo baby design is a bit not the best drawing, I would say, but at least it looks a bit very different. But it could be that Koi just can't draw babies.
A loser. Yeah, you're a loser. Stop talking. But
but yeah, but I do like how Bakugo was just thinking about like Midoriya from the beginning of this chapter and like how he wants to stand, not getting his way and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I do like how but yeah, I do like how I do like the scale of this like less attack All for One does, because it just shows just how powerful Bakugo has become with his explosions, and as a result, even though I think some people are like, why would the fourth strongest hero in My Hero in like Japan risk his life to save a young person, even though like this random student, but
yeah.
But no, again, it would be in character for a hero to do that kind of self-sacrifice,
Right.
kind of like Russ did with like Arazawa. But it did. But we see this fight. There was the right choice to save him, because Bakugo was the only person that could probably make All for One react like this.
Well, it ended up working the way that it did.
Yeah.
So that's probably when you look at as an out of basically out of manga experience, as in us looking from a point of view, that's just plot.
Yeah.
That's not characters in story knowing that, oh, hey, the Bakugo kind of looks like second user that we have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
Only very few people know about that transfer of ability.
Yeah.
The All for One.
Mm-hmm.
Although now everyone knows about it because they went viral on it and shit like that.
Oh yeah, because of like that one bit of conversation between Endeavor and Shigaraki.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do assume that probably after this final war arc, that the full details of All for One's history and All Mights and all that will be fully revealed to the public.
Probably. We'll see how that goes. But for the confines of this story, not a lot of dialogue in this one. Just Bakugo being Bakugo.
Yeah. I will admit, I really do love how Koei has managed to draw many of these explosive impacts that you see Bakugo doing.
Yeah. This is Bakugo's potentially first win since the since the festival. If you don't count movies.
Hold on, you're talking about the which festival you're talking about?
The only festival we've had, the sports festival.
The sports festival. No, Bakugo's had other wins.
When?
Not
the movies. No, that's not canon, but still.
Let's see, he won against Midoriya.
Oh, good, but that wasn't like a.
After the license exam, he helped win. He helped the team. He helped his team win against Class B.
Yeah, I'm just talking about villain wins.
Ah, okay. Oh, you're talking about the bad guys beating Bakugo.
Well, I'm talking about Bakugo beating villains. This is
okay.
Like first win since then he didn't have a win in the festival arc at that point. So against villains. So what? His last win against any type of villain was, I guess you could argue, those bad guys that after he finally got his license.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there was that one villain that
Endeavor guy.
Yeah, that one villain that he saved Endeavor's son from with Midoriya Shoto.
About it, but yeah. So, but this is probably Bakugo's biggest win against any villain.
Yeah, and arguably it would be what makes him a legend afterwards.
Yeah, he'd have his number one status.
Yeah. Though granted, he probably should still avoid media appearances afterwards.
Yeah.
But I do like how you've got All For One going like, this is my tale, but Bakugo's telling him to shut up, saying that this is everyone else's tale. So I thought like that was like fitting.
Right.
But yeah, but I also do like how All For One is also losing control of all his quirks. You see the manifestation of them, including like Hawks's. Granted, I don't see that member from the Wild Wild Pussycats, the one with the telekinesis there. So I'm assuming that's probably in Shigaraki's body.
Yeah.
But something tells me that Hawks isn't getting his quirk back after this. Because this switch, I think it's fine. You need to have some kind of casualties on the good guy's side.
I guess losing your quirk is considered a casualty.
I suppose you could say it's like a sort of injury, I guess.
We have no idea. Maybe all the quirks disperse and go back to their rightful owners.
I'm not sure I'd be a fan of that, to be honest.
You might not be a fan, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see in that chapter, but yeah.
Oh no, there you go, they're all returning.
But overall I like this chapter, and I'll probably give it like a 10 out of 10.
You're still forgetting the fact that Eri exists too, by the way.
Oh yeah, Eri.
Oops. We got the Eri button.
But I do also like how Bakugo.
I'm curious if that's how they beat crap. I wonder if that's how they get back the teleporter guy. I wonder if you can rewind the Nomu process.
You mean Kurogiri?
Yeah.
Who knows? But that fight against Arazawa is still ongoing, if I recall, off screen.
Yeah, we don't know what's happened with them yet. But we do know that she has control over her power now. Yeah, he does, because we had Lemillion have got his powers back. I'm curious. I'm curious.
Now, granted, I have a feeling that Kurogiri, or let's say Arazawa's old Jutsu school friend, is probably still going to remain deceased.
It's probable, maybe. You don't know. We don't know anything. We don't know where any of this is going. This could all be one giant, massive, happy ending for everyone. Well, back to your rating scale system.
Yeah.
You gave it a 10 out of 10, huh?
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Or maybe like a 9.5 with just like a few minor things that I'm currently that I might have noticed. But yeah.
I mean, whenever the anime eventually gets to it, could possibly like make it a really good episode.
Oh yeah. Well, we do know that I do know that there's been some leaks about season 7 so far.
Well, they've shown the poster for it.
Oh yeah.
Which looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I doubt the entire war arc is going to be adapted. I think at the very least they're going to do probably at least half of it.
No, it's all going to take place. Every single one of these, this whole thing's all going to take place at once.
Yeah, but at the very least, I'm definitely expecting we're going to get a season 8.
Yeah. If it gets to season 10, then we know how long this went.
That's true, but yeah, but who knows? But yeah, they did manage to make season. They did manage to make the first war arc be about like 18 episodes or something.
They managed. Yeah.
But anyway, so what score do you give it?
I'll go with your whole. I think the 9.5 is pretty spot on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's clearly it's arguably just seeing Bakugo just do all those works, him acknowledging of all those that helped him beforehand, and just like everyone's starting to rebel against All for One. So all that kind of stuff. It's all great. As well as the artwork, seeing the boom boom explosions and yeah.
Pretty cool.
So yeah. So yeah. So if I had to predict the next chapter, we'll probably just see All for One starting to disappear. Arguably his brother commenting on his brother's demise at last, and then set up for like Midoriya versus Shigaraki, and the final fight can finally begin.
Finally.
Or we finally get full-on proper focus on it.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Because I'd say that's probably one of the only downside of this war arc is that due to all the battles going on at the same time, there's quite a lot of bits that are cut. Or at least put on hold. So, yeah.
Put on hold, yep.
So is there anything else you want to say, Mangareader, about this chapter? Or the chapter?
Nah, not really.
Fair enough. And I guess, let's see, we're sort of ending, and I've just realized I've kept chapter 408 on the entire time when I was doing 409.
You ruined it.
Oh, well, my bad there. But hopefully people will be able to tell or not. But yeah. Well, anyway, Margarita, thank you for reviewing these chapters with me, and I look forward to reviewing the next couple of chapters with you in the future. And who knows, maybe Lucky Chi will join us then. But for now, I am Blue Star Saber.
I'm Mangareader.
And we'll see you next time, for everyone. If you've listened to the stream, I hope you liked what we had to say. But for now, goodbye, everyone. Plus Ultra.
Plus Ultra, everyone.
And with that, we are